All right. Let me know in the chat if you're able to see and hear me. I'll wait a second. Okay, good. So people can hear me. So I decided to do this in the middle of the night, just to see how many people would show up and maybe test out my new mic. So the last time I did a live stream, or rather, I did an interview that's on the subreddit. People complained that my audio was terrible, and it was. I've been using the same mic since like 2004 or something, so I decided to get a new mic. I won't tell you what kind it is because they're not paying me or anything. It's just I bought a new one and I wanted to test out how it is. So hopefully, if you've watched a previous live stream or the interview or whatever else, you can let me know if it's better. I certainly hope it's better because it was like half a month's rent. So please tell me it's better. um, but yeah, I just decided to do a live stream to test out how things are going. Test out the kind of new setup. I don't have a new camera. It's the same camera I've been using forever, but the new mic at least should change things. So over the weekend, I went to ThinkerCon, which, if any of you heard about from various other creators, it was kind of a special event for educational content, educational creators. And I was a featured creator, which was a new experience for me. I went to VidCon over in June, and I had 8,000 subscribers at that point. So going to this one, having over 250,000, we did it, guys. Thank you very much. Uh, it was a different experience because people were coming up to me and being like, "Hey, I know you," and stuff. Other creators who I respect. So it was it's a big difference for me. Also, there were fans. I don't know. It's very unlikely that any of you here right now were among them. There were about 12, maybe. But a couple people flew from like Oregon and or drove from Pennsylvania to come see me specifically, which is a very new experience for me. And it's very, I live in a fairly normal apartment, brick walls and stuff, which you guys all make sure to make fun of as often as you can. Um, I feel like a normal guy, but apparently it seems that I make decent content for people to come cross country to see me. So it's kind of cool. It was a new experience for me. Got to talk with a lot of big name educational creators, which was fun. We got to talk about certain experiences and problems that we have that maybe not everyone else would quite understand. Like when we get something wrong, which I do often. Every video it seems there's at least something that I get wrong. Sometimes it's little, like which president was 42 years ago. And if it's something big, I'll take it down and correct it, which people have said in the past. Like my taxes video was that way. So I try to fix when I can, but I do make mistakes, and that was probably one of the biggest things I learned how to cope with, I suppose. Looking at the chat here, no, this live stream will not be up in the morning. So if you miss it, I'm sorry, but it is called Super Secret Randomly Scheduled Thing. So you were warned, I suppose. Um, what else did I want to talk about? I mean, okay, so some people. Okay, actually, this is a good question. Let me make sure that you can see this question. Where was it? I addressed this in the last live stream, the Q&A live stream. Do I stand by the 4K video still? At that point, let me see if I can show you this as well. Yes, the short answer to that question is yes. A few people have made response videos to them, which I had talked about during the Q&A. But a few days ago, Mr. Linus Tech Tips made a video called 4K Gaming is Dumb. And he basically says everything that I said in my video. He changes the way he describes things. He says that people can only see a certain arc second, I believe he calls them, instead of pixel size, which it's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. And he also talks about frame rates and stuff like that. But he says that it's basically unimportant and fairly useless. I don't think it's useless. Let me make sure I get that out there. I don't think 4K gaming is dumb. I don't think 4K movies are dumb. I think personally, well, not even personally. I'm sorry. No, I don't think this personally. I think 4K is above what the average consumer needs. And that's fairly well established. Again, let me share my screen here. Sorry, it's going to take me a second to find this source. But a lot of people had said on the comments on that video that 4K TVs were now the standard, and they're not. I'm sorry if I'm the first person to tell you that. Come on, this is much more difficult to find than it should be. Where is it? One of the response videos talked about...
The next big thing when...
talked about how many billions of dollars were... Here we go. How many billions of dollars were spent on 4K TVs in the last year. And that's great, you know, but that's not indicative of market share. Market share is 40%. And I have a newer source. I couldn't find the 2018, but in 2017, which is just last year, only 40% of TVs, of all new TVs sold were 4K, which is not most. So even if it's only 50%, I'd still be like, it's still not most. 4K TVs will be the standard. My next TV will be a 4K TV. I don't think it's stupid or anything. I just think that it's not catching on quite as fast as HD TVs were 10 years ago or whatever. So do I stand by it? Yes. And Linus Tech Tips, who has much bigger clout than I have, kind of backed up what I said. So I don't mean to derail too much. I have a few. Thank you, Alex. And oh man. Hey man, I disagree with some of your stuff, but I still want to thank you for giving me an interesting and fair perspective. That was actually something that most of the people who came to ThinkerCon said to me, was that I don't necessarily agree with you all the time, but thank you for offering your perspective, or you helped change the way I think about a certain thing. And that's what I want. I don't want a following of people who agree with me all the time. That's how you end up in a forest filming dead people, or believing your own BS and just spouting whatever you think, like certain people. I don't want to name names here, but I don't want I don't want subscribers who agree with me 100% of the time. I want you to push back when you think I'm wrong. I want you to think about the things I say, even when you think I might be wrong. And I hope you stick around either way. That's what I want. I don't necessarily just want a following of people who worship me. I certainly don't want that. I'm not in it for that, I guess. Like your content, too much. You're 13 and you were able to spend. Sorry, you're 13 and you were able to spend $4.99. When I was 13, $4.99 was like a month of work, man. Must be nice. These kids these days, right? So let me scroll back here. Also, thank you, cringy 7-year-old. Great. Okay. So let me scroll back here and see what everyone else has been saying here. Fallout 76. I started playing it yesterday. It's about what I expected, right? It's Fallout 4, but MMO. The very first person I ran into was very nice and gave me all sorts of stuff, which was nice. As soon as I exited the vault, he just like laid everything down in like a paper bag, I think. It's very nice. I was expecting to just die, and it was very nice. But it is very much just Fallout 4 again, it's slightly disappointing, but I hope I'll get into it, right? And I got into it after the big patch, so everything's not like all messed up, so that's good. So let me kind of, if you want to ask questions, go ahead and ask questions and tag me so that it kind of highlights it. And don't spam, right? So I don't know how long this is gonna go. Maybe not too long, but don't spam it. Otherwise, I'll just shut it down, and that's no fun for anyone, right? Let's see. Someone had mentioned Tom Scott. I met Tom Scott. He knew who I was, and that was kind of amazing. Not an experience I'm used to. I met him at EduCon and then at VidCon. EduCon and VidCon are like the same event, just a day before. So I showed up for ThinkerCon, and he was in the lobby. And sorry, I'm gonna stop the scrolling here. But he was in the lobby. He was like, "Hey, I know who you are," and all that. I'm like, "What? No, you don't." But yeah, he knew who I was. It was kind of amazing. Okay, thoughts on the intellectual dark web / Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is dangerous. He tells young white disaffected men what they want to hear, and that's why he's so popular. What is your favorite build to play in Fallout 4? I'm a fan of single action rifles. I don't know if that's a build necessarily. What's your economic position? Do you believe in free market capitalism or socialism? I probably believe in something more in the middle. Capitalism has its place. I think capitalism has its place. If everyone starts off on a level playing field, that's great. You know, we all have equality of opportunity, as Mr. Peterson likes to say. But we don't all start off on equal footing. We start off, our parents or grandparents had tons of money and they handed it down, and we have opportunity because of where we live or whatever else. We don't start off on an equal playing field. It's more like we're playing Monopoly, and everyone else has been playing for 100 years, and all the property is owned. So good luck, and also in Monopoly, when someone goes bankrupt, they just disappear. Whereas in real life, you don't disappear. You get angry and you get your pitchforks. So no, I don't believe in 100% pure free market capitalism, but I'm not a socialist either. I believe in something in the middle, I guess. Something like Western Europe. So Washington, and I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Thoughts on Logan Paul coming out as a flat earther? Not surprising, honestly. Yeah, not at all surprising. Holy wow. How many people are here? Almost 900. That's insane. It's the middle of the night. Go to sleep. Will O'Rourke run in 2020? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. You have to ask him. I'm not involved in Texas politics. I can't vote in Texas. So this isn't really something that I would have voted for him if I could. Should I still vote even if I'm uninformed and don't know who to vote for? It's well past election day. If you're able to vote, that's strange. Um, I would rather you vote for the things you know about than gamble or flip a coin or pick people based on their name or something. Don't do that. Biggest fear and greatest hope for the future. Oh, my biggest fear is that my channel will continue to grow. I'm happy with where it is. It's almost too big for me, to be fair. I know you probably meant like in general, but this is what's on my mind right now. Was the history guy at the con you went to? I don't. No, no. Should Washington rule the world? No. Is this your only job? From El Chapo. Yes. I do YouTube full time now. Is I love you a question? I mean, it can be. How are you doing? I'm stressed out, to be honest. I went to ThinkerCon, like I said, which travel is always stressful to me. So once I got back, I was kind of like, wow, I think I'm a bigger deal than I thought I was. So I'm still trying to come to grips with that. Do I play Red Dead? No, I want to though. I really do. I kind of held out for Fallout 76. So when Red Dead came out, I was like, no, I'm gonna save myself for marriage or whatever. So no, but I would like to. How do you donate? I'm assuming it's a question for everyone else. What video do I regret making? Okay. Ooh, that is a good question. Let me pull up my channel here. Nope, look at that. 932
Government
of you.
surrender.
Where am I here? Videos. 941 of you watching. What is wrong with you guys? Go to sleep. It's almost midnight, depending on where you are. Past midnight. Go to sleep. Governing paper people, I'm fine with. Voter suppression, fine with. Eschatology, I'm fine with. Scientology, I loved. I loved making that one. I loved researching that one. That was great. Political shifts, yeah, it was good. Okay, which ones do I regret? Okay, so this one, I'm sure. Oops. This one, why isn't it highlighting just right? Fine. Subverting the narrative. I regret the way I phrased things in this one. Jordan Peterson's not a Nazi. Neither is Ethan from H3H3. They're not Nazis. Clearly, they're not Nazis. I wish I had made a distinction between that when I made that video. I still think that the stories they tell, which I showcase in that video, are harmful, and that was the point of that video. So this one, this top 10 things you need to know about ferrets, that was an April Fool's joke. It was uploaded on April Fool's. Required no research whatsoever. I just made it randomly. And it was my most popular video until playing the victim. That one kind of took off. But top 10 things about ferrets was my most popular, and I hated the fact that it was my most popular. I enjoyed making it. It's all just for fun. It's all just a joke. But I hated that was my most popular. But which one do I regret making? I regret making this one. Okay, the size matters mate selection one. It was the previous April Fool's joke, and I just get gross in it, and it's dumb. Not a fan of that one. Might be next on the chopping block, to be honest, but that's a decent answer for now. Very careful with your word choice. Have I done any debate in high school or something? No. I used to be a teacher, so I try to think of what I'm going to say before I say it. Who are some educational YouTubers I regularly... Oh, I just closed the window. That would have been helpful to have up. So here's my list of subscriptions. Maria the Witch was a voice in my recent video. I recommend her. Mr. Beat, I've been friends with for a very long time. Alex Danis, I've been following for a very long time as well. She was at ThinkerCon. So is Real Engineering, who I also like. Okay, I'm not just going to go down the list and be like, I like these people. I obviously like these people. They're in my list. See if there's anyone that like really sticks out. Tibby's, if you're into physics and math, she's like the Bob Ross of physics. She's very awesome and has even started to embrace that a little bit, which is awesome. See if I could like go down the list here. I'm gonna leave someone out and then I'm gonna feel bad. So if you're on this list and I didn't mention you, I'm sorry, but you know, time and stuff. So yeah, let me just move that instead of close it. How long do you think the U.S. annexes another state? Not quite sure what that means. Typically, it's like 50 to 100 years, depending on where you are. Okay, you already asked this question. Is this your first time on the internet? Asking people. Okay, it's not my first time on the internet, so yeah, I know it's kind of dumb. Do you think federal judges should be able to override any elected? Ooh. Okay, so the judicial branch is a check on the other two branches. So do I think, sorry, let me highlight it. Do I think a federal judge should be able to override an elected official if they feel it's necessary? Yes. What's this? I don't have an opinion on state flags. Watch Hello Internet, I think they do that. Their approach on things, regards from Chile. Okay. I gave you money, so now you play the game. You're gonna have to give me the. I don't know what ROTMG is. What are your plans for content in the next videos? Okay, so let me. I'm sorry, I'm like way off to the side here. I didn't realize that. My plan for the next few videos. So I've started to schedule in breaks for myself because I start to since the channel took off, I get into a groove and like I get stressed out, right? As most other people do, I suppose. So I've scheduled in breaks. So I have a video on December 2nd, and then my next one's not until December 23rd. So 2 weeks, or a little less than 2 weeks from now, and then 3 weeks. So, and that's going to be the schedule from now on. I'll do like 4 or 5 videos in a row, then I'll take a break. And then the next one's going to be on Christmas shopping. So, what are your thoughts on safe spaces? I tend to think people who are against safe spaces are typically disingenuous. Sorry. Safe spaces are fine as if there's a reason for it. So if this is like we used to, when I was a teacher, we'd have safe spaces for LGBT people, and that's totally fine. Like, hey, we don't tolerate any transphobia in this room. That's a safe space, and that's fine. When it's like, oh, we don't tolerate, I don't know, rice or peanuts or whatever it is, then it's really ridiculous, and I think that's why South Park made fun of them. Can you show and tell about your ferrets? They're both asleep right now, but you know what? It's as long as you guys don't tell anybody, I'll go get them real quick. So, yeah. switch it to full. There we go. So for those of you who don't know, I have 2 ferrets now. Quite a few people in the last several videos have been like, why do you have 2 ferrets? Or when did you get 2 ferrets? Blah, blah. So this is Peabody. Okay, he's all white. And this is Atlas, and he's like half black or gray. They're characters from Portal 2. So Wheatley passed away in June, so these are my 2 ferrets now. It's the first time I've had more than one, and it's a fun experience so far. So let me put them back, and then I'll hop back in the chat. So. Okay, so let me rapid fire some of these real quick so I can catch back up. Would you ever run an election? No. What kind of topics do people tend to believe their own BS on the most? Economics. It's survivorship bias. So if you did well, you tend to think that the system works great. Was Vsauce at ThinkerCon? Vsauce 3 was at ThinkerCon. ThinkerCon. Derp. What do you think about America not using the gold standard for our currency? Fiat currency is working just fine so far. Thought on Trump's handling of Saudi. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So he's handling this very poorly, I think. When the CIA says this happened, you shouldn't go against your own CIA. How long did I teach? 5 years? 5 years. What made you start your channel? If I already asked, then what is your... Okay. When did I start my channel? I got my 2nd degree in psychology in 2016, and I started the channel shortly. Actually, I started the channel like a few weeks after that. Have you met a sovereign citizen in real life? No. What? This is going to be a divisive question. What's your favorite mods in Fallout 4? I hate mods in all games. My friends will attest to this. I'm a vanilla player. If you use a mod, you're basically cheating in my mind. Can you do a video on the Philippine campaign in World War II? Maybe in the future. Who's your favorite actor? Why is it Val Kilmer? I don't know if I have a favorite actor, to be honest. What's your opinion on, as a veteran of the... Ooh. I think that lately we've been overstepping our bounds. I already answered this. It's so large right now. So why do I think the sovereign citizen movement is so large? After 1970, it really took off since Nixon kind of put an end to the gold standard, and it took off. I honestly don't understand why it continues, because there's internet proof that it doesn't work. There's all these videos of them trying and failing, so I don't understand why it continues. I've been having a debate with a family member. What are your thoughts on compulsory voting? I'm for it. Do you think Washington State... Okay. Have you played Mass Effect? If so, what do you... I have not played Mass Effect. Can you make a video on cultural impact of music? Cultural impact of music, if you want to know about that kind of thing, watch the channel 12 Tone. He does music. I don't know enough about music to weigh in on that. What are your thoughts on North Korean tensions? I mean, obviously, I will always push for peace. I'm not trying to be rude. Please play that. Okay. Actually, when I was about to get, feelings on curved or ultra-wide screens, I was about to get like an ultra-wide curved deal, but I went with the 2 monitors instead. I don't know, I think it's just personal preference, but I also know that a few games don't support that resolution, so that's why I went with the 2. Being a veteran, do you think the military is getting a fair amount of funding? I think they're getting too much funding. or at least like that funding is going to weapons systems rather than the actual boots on the ground. Would you rather drink milk or grape juice? I'd probably rather do grape juice from a milk carton. Milk is disgusting. Any plans to some videos on us? Okay, I'm sorry. This is a little hard to read. Any plans to some videos on us, your neighbors to the north? Okay, this is a little. I think you've been partaking in the newly legalized recreational stuff. Maybe calm down on that. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question. Thanks for what you do. The videos you put are great. Good, thank you. My friends and I love your content. You make internet better. I make the internet better. Really? Okay. I mean, great. I'm glad you think that. I seem to have lost my place here. I'm sorry. All right. How do I convince myself to actually start my essay and not just watch this? Because this isn't important. I'm just like rapid fire answering questions. Please do your homework. Also, it's Thanksgiving week. What are you doing with homework? Can I play with your ferret? No. Also, wink wink, also no. Thoughts on Brexit? It's a terrible idea, and they should revote it, and people should vote to stay. Thoughts on confederations? That's a strange question. I'm an Indonesian immigrant living in Australia. Do you believe that due to difference in cultures, movements that would be considered far right are not considered due to context? There's always been an anti-immigrant sentiment almost everywhere throughout all of history. The Roman Empire did it every time they would annex somewhere. Anti-immigrant stuff is not going to go away. All we can do is kind of change it. I don't know if you're going to read this, but I want to say I love your channel. Really, really open my eyes. Thank you. What do you think of MG Tao? Look this one. I totally know what MG Tao is. I'm just... Okay, it's men's rights activism stuff. Give it up. All right, we have the position of power. It's time to maybe share it a little bit. West Coast. Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Commonwealth BOS on this one. Doing a podcast or making this regular thing. I might make like the super secret live streams a regular thing, but it wouldn't be scheduled. Podcasts, not so much though. Have I been affected by the adpocalypse? No, not really, no. I started my channel when the first adpocalypse hit, and so I didn't really notice much of a difference. And now that I've grown, I haven't seen any like real dips. Video on the history of Wakanda. Haha, funny. Okay, your favorite English word? Oof. I don't know if I'm a big fan of poop, I guess. And I know that's kind of like a low class thing to say, but that word, for some reason, every time I hear it, I just laugh. And when Chubby Emu said it in his last video, or not his last, but his like previous, one of his recent videos, I couldn't stop laughing. Poop is a funny word. Aloha, you bugga. How's it from Liliha? How's it? Advice for someone trying to be a history teacher. If you haven't gotten tenure yet, follow the grain. Would you be interested? Okay, you already asked. What I told you guys not to spam. What is your favorite ice cream flavor? I'm a fan of the classics. Give me some French vanilla anytime. Thoughts on religion? Oh man, I really need to catch up. Okay, after this question, I'm going to scroll through a little bit. I'm sorry. Thoughts on religion? It's helpful and harmful depending on the person. Sorry, let me. Okay. Biggest criticisms of the American education system given your experience? Okay, so given my experience, my biggest criticism of the American education system is that parents defend their children too much. When I was a kid, if a teacher told my parents that I was misbehaving, oh man, that was a bad day. But uh, nowadays, if a teacher were to tell a parent that a kid was misbehaving, the teacher is almost for sure going to get in trouble. So that's my biggest. Am I going to make a video on it at any point? I thought about doing a video on charter schools at some point. In fact, it's one of the very few scripts that I've written and then abandoned. So maybe someday. How are mods even close to... Okay, so when Fallout 4 survival mode started, you weren't able to sleep anywhere except in a bed. And that's how you saved. And someone made a mod where you could sleep using an inhaler, a craftable inhaler. That's cheating to me. You're supposed to find a bed and use it. Nuh-uh. Wow. Wow. That's impressive. I had always like kind of planned for like the moment my channel what am I looking for here? For the moment my channel like crossed Wyoming, like, oh man, I have more subscribers than the least populous state, but almost more subscribers than Iceland. That is wow. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. There's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that. Whew. I mean, like, games will be soon. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm like missing a bunch of like super chats and stuff. I don't know how to like. Here, agree with you, but I always learn something. Thank you for helping me stay open-minded. Okay, so this statement here. What do you think of teachers not being able to do those who can do? I've heard that, of course, being a teacher in the past, I've heard those who can't do teach. I've heard that many times. And I disagree. Teaching is a skill that not everyone has. You might be able to do things, but you wouldn't be able to explain it to someone else. I learned that very recently at ThinkerCon. There were several people who are masters at Adobe Premiere or audio engineering who may not necessarily be able to teach it to someone else. Teaching is a skill in itself. So I don't necessarily believe that if you can't do, you teach. Teaching itself is its own thing. Thoughts on Amazon and Queen? I don't care about their new headquarters stuff, if that's what you're asking about anyway. Okay. Quit it. I told you. Oh, what happened here? Alright, let me scroll up a little bit. I've not played League of Legends. Sorry. Do I speak Greek? No. I really hope I don't grow to that. So like 2 years ago, no, a year ago, I did a Q&A where people asked me what like my long-term goal was, and it was a silver play button, which I have. Actually, where'd I put it? There. Silver play button. This is all I ever wanted. I mean, I'll take a gold one if they give it to me, but this is all I ever wanted. I never thought I would get it. But here it is. And yeah, it's still in the box. I haven't hung it or anything because I'm kind of afraid that I'll like scratch it or it'll fall and it'll break or something. So it just stays in the box, which is very impractical. My thoughts on swearing? Swearing has its place, right? I turned my printer on by putting that away. Sorry if you hear clicks and stuff. The swearing has its place. I'm a soldier, so I'm a veteran now. So swearing is part of life. Thoughts on consumerism? I'm making a video on Christmas purchase or Christmas shopping. So no, I don't play Hearts of Iron 4. The only game I play right now is Fallout 76, and recently I got back into StarCraft. Oh, it seems I skipped down. Okay. I'm a big fan of tower defense on StarCraft. I'm not going to tell you my name though, and it's not knowing better. What can a person genuinely opposed to ideological Islamism do in the West without being a puppet for the far right? Very tough question there again. Support moderatism? Is that a word? I don't want to say centrism because that's loaded. I don't know. You're just gonna have to support a moderate point of view, I suppose. Yes. Break up on Yugoslavia. Okay, let me. Balkanization has been on my list for a very, very long time. Let me show you my list. Again, this isn't going to be posted in the morning or anything, so let's see if it focuses. Hopefully that focuses. Otherwise, too bad. But this is my running list of topics, right? So let me move it up. And Balkanization is on. Okay, come on, focus. There's Balkanization, I think. Where is it? No? There it is. Balkanization is on there. So, history of Yugoslavia is on there. Let me kind of just show everyone else. Assuming you can even read that. It looks blurry on my screen, so sorry. But yes, am I going to do a video on Yugoslavia eventually? Yes. Best thing, I wish I had the answer to that. I won't add you on Steam because I barely use Steam. Thoughts on Israel, I'm fine with it existing. Opinions on the political polarization, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I've done several videos on this, I think. I haven't directly hit it. Culture united, do you think it's accurate? I don't think we're in a culture war or any other type. No. Okay, here's a good one. So I'm not fond of every episode of Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. It's a great show. But some of them kind of missed the mark. And I was really... What's the one... see, I'm way behind on the chat, so I won't see your answers here. Waldo. Watching that one again now is very creepy. I didn't like the episode way back when I saw it, when it first came out. But now it's just depressing. Я говорю немного по-русски. And je parle un peu de français. What do you know about cephalopod intelligence psychology? You're going to have to talk to a guy I know named Tirzu about that one. You may have heard of him. What are your detailed concerns? Oh, that's... He's kind of a jerk. Oh, dang it. Why does it do that? Alright, sorry. I keep skipping down, and I'm sorry. I try to catch up. Or... I didn't think... How many... I know I looked earlier. 1,000? 1,000. It's the middle of the night, you guys. Are we moving more towards or away from populism? How do we counter pseudo-intellects? To answer this question, I believe the answer is yes. After seeing what's been happening in the United States and various Western European countries, and Brazil recently, I think we are. It's kind of, it seems to me like we're replaying what happened 100 years ago, and I hope it doesn't end in the same way it did before. How do we counter pseudo intellects? That's just research. Okay, so um, at ThinkerCon, a lot of the people who came up to me had asked me how to do research, how I do research, and the answer, at least in my way, is when I watch someone like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro or Sargon or whoever else, they always present their side, and they don't present the other side and say why it's wrong. I try to do that in my videos, at least when it's a credible argument. I will present the facts, I'll present one side and then the other side and say why they're right or wrong. So if you're listening to someone and you're like, yeah, you're right, this guy gets it, and then you don't hear, here's what the other side, the feminists or the communists or whoever else, think, and here's why they're wrong, then that should be a clue to you, like, hey, maybe they're being a little disingenuous. Just life advice from knowing better. Would you ever challenge other YouTubers that give? I do that constantly, I think. Hope so. Hi, I love your channel. What's your view on the Electoral College? We should get rid of it. Either we should do a popular vote straight up, or, and this, we could do this without an amendment, every state should divide their votes proportionally. So California, I think, has 54 electoral votes, something like that. It shouldn't be all or nothing. If you get 51%, you get all 54 votes. It should be you get 51% of the electoral votes. And then states like Wyoming and Alaska, if you get 50%, you get 2 of the 3 or whatever it is. So I think it should be more proportional. Someone's about to travel. What's the most important thing they should know? Fossil fuels are bad. Don't make cars out of fossil fuels. In 1900, electric cars were going to be the way to go. Imagine how different the world would be if we did that. Promotion of bipartisanship. I mean, I'm fine with bipartisanship. There's a guy named Exerbia you should watch if you want to know about this. History of modern society. I think it's very important because I see that we are repeating, like I said just a few minutes ago, we're repeating everything from 100 years ago. So history is important because we've been here before. Why are some people so close-minded? Because they want to reinforce their beliefs. Opinion on ASMR. I find it creepy, weirdly sexual. Thoughts on Antifa? Okay, a few people have asked me to do a video on this, and a guy named PhilosophyTube, who I have met before. He did a video on Antifa. It's like an hour long, and it's amazing. It is so good. Antifa is not a group you can join. They don't have a website or a headquarters or anything like that. This is a really good video, and I can't recommend this highly enough. Yeah, just search for PhilosophyTube Antifa and you'll find it. Thoughts on universal basic income? My thoughts are that I should do a video on that at some point in the near future. I had a number of talks with people at ThinkerCon about it, so it's on my list now. Cody from Alternate History Hub. I don't know what kind of crossover I would have with Alternate History Hub since I don't do alternate history. What are your thoughts on Pete's mini game from I don't play. I have. Yeah, sorry. Proportional. You must have asked that before I answered the question. So thank you, Girth. Girth? Gross. Ever fall in love in the army? I mean, I had a girlfriend while I was in the army, too. Separate. At different times. Why can't I vote in Texas? Because I don't live in Texas. Would you ever cover the art of debating? I'm not a very good debater. I don't have that gift that Ben Shapiro or Destiny have. Sorry. I have not read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Although your description makes me somewhat interested, so good on you, Tyler. You didn't tag me in this question, but no, I'm not still in the Army. I got out 8 years ago. Okay, so what's your opinion on foreign aid to third world dependency? Foreign aid is important in the same way that various welfare programs are. If the United States cuts off foreign aid to a country, someone else, they need that money, right? If you've been giving your friend $100 every week, month, whatever, and suddenly you stop, they're going to need that money. So they're going to find someone else to give it to them. And that's what we are now seeing in the world. So when the United States cuts off foreign aid to a country, they turn to someone like China, who is more than willing to give it to them. And that's what's happening. So China is taking over that space, and it's not good because that foreign aid, while you may disagree with it, does get us some influence. And yeah, we are buying our friends. Sorry, that's how the world works. What's your opinion on distracting people with live streams when they do your real work? Have deadlines. It's now Wednesday morning. Do your work. Vote in Texas because you're a felon. What crime? No, I just don't live in Texas. Do you stand by your opinion? Yes, I already answered that. I've answered that several times. I'm not trying to be dismissive here, but I get this question all the time. Yes, it does. My high subscriber count does scare me a lot. Do you think Offset? I recently upgraded my PC. I'd show you, but like my product key and stuff would be there too. So sorry. Seen the film Leave No Trace? No, I haven't. Do you like Vsauce's new YT Premium show? I haven't seen it because I don't have YouTube Premium. Would you ever live abroad? Sure, maybe. It's funny. It's funny. What's it like to be smart enough to be in the army? Oh, I don't know why I missed that one. I don't know why it disappeared, but sorry. Yeah. Thanks for the donation. Okay, I was up to girth. I know that, at least. I disagree with random selection. That would be a terrible idea. By the estate? I'm assuming you mean state, in which case it is public. I have a Discord server for Patreon or patrons. $2 plus. I would sit down with Thomas Jefferson. Sorry, I didn't read the question. Hopefully you can see it. I would sit down with Thomas Jefferson and I would tell him about the current state of affairs and ask him if this is what he intended or what he thinks should be done. Sorry, I'm gonna skip ahead here. I disagree with you. Some like your opinions articulate. Keep. Thank you, Isaac. Jesus, way too many of you are awake right now. What do you think about traditional moderate stances being more and more viewed as right wing? I disagree with this sentence inherently. I think the centrist view is becoming more right wing, but moderates and centrists are still in the middle, but centrists tend to be more right. Like people who claim to be centrists, like Sargon, tend to be more on the right. I think I'm a moderate, so I tend to be more on the left. Yes, I do think reunification is inevitable at this point. Dang it. What is going on here? What do you think? Okay. Okay. Recommended books. Books that are core to your philosophy. I'm a big fan of Paper Towns by John Green, and I'm not just saying that because I met him this last weekend. It really changed the way I view friendships. Other people aren't just characters in your story. It's a good fiction book. Another one I really enjoy is, I really like Sarah Vowell's work. I've cited her several times in my videos. She does history books, but they're like comedic. I recommend those a lot. Jeez, way too many of you people here. Do I work off a script? Yes. I put those on Patreon. I'll just show you one. Show you the latest one. Come on, there we go. So, do I have it set so you can see? Yeah, okay. So this is my latest script for Sovereign Citizens. When it's highlighted in blue like this, that means someone else is going to read it. In this case, Maria the Witch. Green is a clip from somewhere else, or like just a clip from somewhere else. And then I script out the left and right. Gray is a zoom in, so you'll notice that I do a lot of jump cuts, but I try not to make it where I'm just like in the same place. It's zoom in and out. The brown here, those are script notes. Those are those little pop-ups on the side. Yellow is a voiceover, so I'll just read it. But yeah, this is what a final script looks like. And yes, I write it myself. I don't have any help. Sometimes I'll ask someone who may be an expert in the field to double check it, like my gun control video or something like that. I'll ask them to read it over and make sure I don't say anything wildly incorrect. But it's all me. Do I like the Fallout series and lore? Yes, very much. It's probably one of my favorite series. I'm a big fan. I don't plan on streaming Fallout. No, I don't plan on doing video game streams. That's not kind of what I do or what I've ever done. And I don't necessarily want to branch out into that. How long does it take me to make a video? 2 weeks. I know a video comes out every 2 weeks, so you might think, oh, I take a few days off. Sorry. Like, oh, I might take a few days off. No, a video goes up. I might sit around on Sunday watching the analytics, but after that, I'm right back to researching and writing my script. So it takes a full 2 weeks. Oh, okay, sorry. Is pineapple on pizza? Yes, it is a moral failing. Okay, can I do that? Hey, look at that. Haha. See, I read your messages. There. So now that I'm able to, I should have been doing that from the start. I apologize, but also this wasn't planned, as you might have gathered from the title. Thank you. Was there a conspiracy? No. Some guy killed him. That's the end of it. Do I keep up with the news? Yes. Oh my God, stop scrolling. Okay, there. I usually watch Reddit for my news, and that way I get kind of an aggregate of multiple sources, and then I'll read whatever is posted. I'm not considering making 4K videos because a 4K camera costs a fortune that I'm not willing to spend, especially when my videos are doing quite well already. Even, like, if PewDiePie is not in 4K, why would I be in 4K? He has like 200 times as many subscribers as I do. Why would I do that? I have not read that. What are your opinions about the conflict in South China Sea? Whew, that's a very tough question that I don't have the time to answer. I was not contacted by Scientology after the video. I was expecting it, to be honest, and it didn't happen. Interesting question right afterwards. What do I drink? I mostly drink water. I just happen to be having a New Belgium right now. I don't know. I've never had this before, so decided to get it. Which is why this video will not be like up forever, by the way. Or at least part of the reason. This is a good question. Let's see if I can make sure. Okay, what are your thoughts on console PC fanboys? So I got brigaded by a lot of the PC Master Race types after my last video. Or not my last, after the 4K TV video. And I don't get it. When I was a kid, I played on console. Then I migrated to PC. Then I migrated back to console. And I've kind of gone back and forth over my entire life. So I don't really see the point in like clinging to that. I have a really good PC right now. I think I have, it's either a 1070 or a 1080 GeForce. It's pretty, it's good. It does what I need it to do, but I'm not gonna like brag about it and tell anyone who has a 1050 that they're worthless. And I play, Fallout on console because I like the controller and the bigger TV or bigger screen. So, it changes depending on what I want. I will not do a video on how jet fuel can't melt steel beams. If you do want to know someone who like debunks conspiracy theories quite regularly, I'd recommend Miles Power. He just did a video on Waco, this helicopter gunfire video. It's really good. I recommend watching that. He also does a lot of the stuff that you guys ask me to do all the time, like flat Earth and GMOs and homeopathy and stuff like that. He's been around for a long time, so I recommend him if you want that conspiracy type stuff. He's good. Okay, what makes me think that the center is shifting to the right? If you're familiar with politics at all, you should know what the Overton window is, and that's the idea. It's like the window of acceptable politics. So if you imagine it being in the center all the time, there we go. So center all the time, and then Trump is elected, so it kind of shifts over. So now this is center, if you follow. So that's why I think centrism is moving to the right. I still call myself a moderate, but I've been told that some of my views are more leftist. I'm definitely not a communist or a Marxist, but I definitely I find myself agreeing with people like Philosophy Tube and ContraPoints and Maria the Witch and Do Not Eat far more often than I disagree with them. What are some dream creators I would love to collaborate with? I don't know, most of them most of the ones I want to collaborate with, I can just kind of like do that if I wanted. I mean, I'd love to work with Vsauce. Not that he'd ever give me the time of day, like Michael from Vsauce. Um, but I don't know. If you're a creator and you want to collaborate, let me know and I'll hit you back. The defining moment in American history is easily the Civil War. If you donate more, I will not add you on Steam. I'm sorry. I really don't play on Steam very much. I'm sorry. Like it really wouldn't be worth either of our time for me to do that. All right. So just to kind of like put a end time on this, we'll go for another 23 minutes, I guess. So at the end of the hour here, we will kind of end. I appreciate all of you guys coming. I'm honestly blown away, and I will continue reading your questions. But now that more people are here, the reason I did this was more or less because I got a new microphone, and they didn't pay me to say this, so I'm not going to tell what kind it is. But if you watched any of my previous live streams or interviews or whatever, if you could let me know whether this microphone is like significantly better or not, that'd be great because this costed quite a bit. So, um, yeah, that's why I scheduled this as a super secret whatever. It's not going to be up tomorrow morning. It's not going to be up in its entirety. This is it. If you're watching it now, great. Otherwise, bye. But no, it won't be up in the morning. What is your opinion on cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are not a currency. They are a commodity or an investment. You put your money in, you hope it grows. You're not going to go to the store. No, this is never going to happen, so let it go. You're never going to go to the store and pay in Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. It's an investment in the same way that stocks are or futures. So, and yes, I'm aware that a few of you are from overseas, which is nice. I'm glad I have somewhat of a international audience. That's good. Why your wow? Why your popularity, in my opinion, many people will say, like for someone. I mean, I definitely have my own bias, right? We all have our own bias, but I try to at least say, here's my opinion, and here's the other side, and here's why I think they're wrong. I do think that Puerto Rico should become a state. Puerto Rico is larger than most states or when they became states. Who's the most influential president? I think FDR. I can't really. I mean, maybe I can zoom in on it by like. Okay, well, look at that. It's a learning experience. Ah, oh, okay. So, what's causing the shift? I don't know if I have an answer for what's causing it. I really don't. If I had that answer, I'd do more about it, I suppose. My thoughts on Forgotten Weapons? I mean, everyone has their niche. I'm fine with them existing. Have I seen In a Nutshell? Of course I have. Come on. And I even met him this weekend. Sausage or bacon? It changes depending on situation. Why not save this upload? Because it's a secret midnight live stream. Oh, skipped. All right. All right. Will I be doing a video on the Mormon Wars soon? Mormonism is one of the things on my list. I really don't know when I'll get to that. It's kind of a huge topic and one that I would want to make sure I do right. Having grown up in Hawaii, do you know about the construction of the Honolulu rail transit. I was unaware of that. Um, it would be great because traffic on H1 is terrible, and windward leeward traffic has always also been terrible. So they should do something about that, I guess. I'd love to know more about that, to be honest. When do I think it'll become a state? Probably once a Hispanic becomes president. Really, that's, you know, I don't want to. Okay, either a Latino, Latinx, Latina, whatever. Once a Hispanic person becomes president, it might happen. I don't know who Scott Adams is. I'm becoming overwhelmed with how many of you are still here. This is no. Okay, so this question here. Do I think that there will be a second civil war? And the answer is no. Uh, the first Civil War happened because the United States was very geographically divided when it came to politics, but now it's not at all. Um, like, if you're going to tell me that there's going to be a civil war between the blue and the red counties, it's just not going to happen. Like, you can't. 100 years ago, when like all of these states were at the time, I guess, blue and all of the others were red, it made more sense. But now that everything is all mixed like this, and all the cities are blue and all the rural areas are red, and it's just, it'd be a mess geographically to try and do something like that. So, no, I'm not really worried about a civil war in our near future. Uh, okay, if you could like clarify what I saved you researching? I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad I saved you time researching. How do you handle videos that get comment backlash for potential inaccuracy? Specifically interested in how K became a UK, asking an angry Irish person. I talked to several, I have several creator friends, British and Irish, that I asked about that video specifically, to make sure I got it for the most part correct. One of the major backlashes I got for that video was that the DUP, apparently, to some people, the DUP is not far right, even though, from what I understand, they're very far right. They're like extreme Tea Party for those of us in America who don't know what the DUP is. Like, super anti abortion, super anti immigrant, just very far right. And Theresa May formed a coalition with them in order to get the majority. But I said that in the video, and apparently some people didn't think it was very far right. And I've been told PragerU is not far right, which, yes, they are. If you don't think PragerU is far right, watch more of their videos. So when it comes to like opinion-based stuff like that, I'm not too fazed by it. When I legitimately get something wrong, it does bug me, and it'll bug me forever. There are a few videos where I do get something wrong, and it will drive me nuts forever. Let me look at the list here and see. I guess it hasn't been in a while because so this Asking Better 2, that was when I did that was right before VidCon, or right after VidCon. And ever since then I've been like really digging into the scripts way more so I don't get anything wrong. Out of context, this one. So I did get something wrong in this one. And I'm gonna click it and it's gonna like play. But,
There are no.
yeah, okay. I pinned a comment, I think. Yeah. So the best I can do when I get something wrong is to pin a comment, uh, and that's all I can do. But it'll bug me forever, and still to this day, like when I think about this video, I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I got that wrong. Both me and Mr. Beat were looking at the wrong source. And it bugs me forever. So I really, really, really try to not let that kind of thing happen anymore. I don't know who Robert Moses is. I'd have to, I appreciate that you donated to ask me this question, but I don't know enough to be able to answer that question. Sorry. Okay, you've been asking this question quite a bit, and I don't know who that is either, so I'm sorry. Or Jacques Fresco, I don't know who that is either. Is Putin Russia a problem in the near future? They're a problem right now. Yes, they're influencing elections, and yes, the United States has done the same in the past, but also that doesn't make it okay. Two wrongs don't make a right, etc. So, there was a question about PragerU I wanted to get to. I get PragerU ads on your videos. Hank Green made a video about how you can stop that. So you don't, okay, so I don't spread their message. So, several people have told me this, that they get PragerU ads on my videos. And the weird thing is, I don't know if I can show you this. Let me see if I can show you this without, like, giving away too much information here. I do sponsorships, right? So I talk about Skillshare or Brilliant or whoever else. And for the first 30 days, there's no ads on my videos. That's part of the deal with Skillshare and Brilliant. I can just show you that. So this is what it looks like on the creator side. Here's all my tags and all of that fun stuff. But on monetization, none of these are checked, right? So there's no, that one's checked, but it's grayed out because there's no ads. So when I put up a new video and people are like, I got a PragerU ad for this video, I know you're lying because there's no ads for the first 30 days. Now, I don't doubt that there are PragerU ads on my past videos. I know Hank put up a video like going through like the super intricate stuff about how to stop that. And I don't want to go through all that to stop it. Skip them. If you see a PragerU ad, skip them. They pay for it whether you skip it or not. I don't necessarily get the money. But I don't want to stop it because, especially when it comes to the video where I debunk PragerU, it's actually quite helpful for you to have seen that video, and especially if they paid you to see it, and then me to debunk it. So I'm not spreading their message since I'm actively debunking it. I do wish I could stop it like on specific videos, but you can't. It's either all or nothing, right? So, yeah. Do I have any controversial opinions? Of course I do. We all do. I can't think of any that I would necessarily want to divulge right now. Oop. Okay. At least I have the chat up here, so I'm not just like on purpose skipping. Do you think the next president, whether Democrat or Republican, will spend a lot of time rolling back Trump's... Oh, gosh. Probably, to a certain extent, yes. I don't know which ones, to be honest. You didn't give me anything I didn't already know. You could have given me an idea what the cause 2011. Sorry, good. I'm not sure what kind of answer you want there. Sorry for spam. Thanks for answering this. Okay, it's fine, man. Don't worry. You don't need to pay me for it. The fact that you guys do super chats is amazing to me. I do them very rarely, but I suppose with this many people, it's kind of inevitable. Thoughts on banking regulations? Should we have less or more? We should go back to what we had 20 years ago. That's what I think. Why are cities typically more liberal than rural areas? Wendover Productions did a video on why cities exist. And while it doesn't necessarily directly answer that question, I think it does in kind of a roundabout way, I suppose. Oh, okay. This is a video topic in the future. What are your thoughts on people saying the Soviet Union won World War II? So, that's a video topic in the future. So, just hold on to that. Do I agree? Do I agree with the argument that the U.S. dropping atomic bombs on Japan saved lives in the long run over conventional military conflict? That's a tough question. I think the easy answer is yes. Yes. Because Japan wasn't outwardly saying that they were going to surrender. And even if you're like, oh, well, they were in secret talks with Russia, that doesn't matter because to the United States, we didn't know that at the time. So we had to do what we thought we needed to do to end the war. So I think at the time when they did it, they thought it was going to save lives. Now, we can go back with hindsight and be like, oh, well, I'm not sure it would have. But at the time, like knowing what they knew, it's hard for me to say, oh, it was just warmongering or whatever. And no, it had its purpose. I wouldn't agree with it today, but were I, in July 1945, I'd probably be singing a different tune. Are you thinking of making streams more often? No. This is a very rare occurrence, so don't get used to this. Oh. Okay. Wendover or you're making me choose. I've been a fan of Wendover longer. That's the best answer I can give. Have I watched Do Not Eat's Franklin series? Yes, I love Do Not Eat. I love him. I've always been a big fan of sim games, and the fact that he uses it to teach about city planning and history and stuff, it's amazing. Should really give him more of a plug. He's one of the few people I donate to on Patreon. He's awesome. He's like, do not eat 01. Yeah, that's right. So, Do Not Eat 01. If you don't know who this guy is, you should definitely give him a watch. Even if you've never played any city sim games, they're amazing. I recommend starting with the Urban Freeways, this one. So, if you were to check out his channel, I recommend this one right here. What are my thoughts on Venezuela? Oh, okay. Okay. What are my thoughts on Venezuela? What's happening there sucks, but it's not socialism's fault. Plenty of countries have socialism, like Germany and France and the UK and Sweden, and they're not in economic collapse. So stop blaming socialism for it. This is meaning for my page. Hey, am I giving my what? Thank you. Thank you, Brian. The videos, what are your thoughts on communism? Okay, so my thoughts on communism are similar to my thoughts on capitalism. It would work great in theory if everyone was equal, but we're not. So we need a mix of the two, which is socialism. I don't necessarily advocate for like socialism in the like super leftist sense of the word, but I don't think pure capitalism works either. That said, I also don't think pure communism works. Keeps jumping. Sorry. Am I ever going to do a video on the misconceptions of World War I? I'm not even sure I know of any misconceptions of World War One. Aside from like some controversy over the causes, which I guess would be the same for the US Civil War. It's always what caused it. And if you don't think it's slavery, please watch various videos I've made. But World War One would be interesting, I guess. I saw here. Do I game? Yes. I play Fallout. I play StarCraft. I play Civilization 6. Yeah. What are my thoughts on 4K currently? I mean, again, I've talked about this several times, which is why we're gonna wrap up here in like 4 minutes. It'll be my next TV, but probably not until this TV breaks, which who knows when that will be. Okay, what are my thoughts on the Young Turks being named after a genocidal organization? Okay, I understand that Turkey did the Armenian genocide, but the Young Turks being named after a genocidal organization itself, unless you're just being like Turks, I'd have to look into that more. I don't have an opinion on that at this time. Is the US government fascist? No. Is it heading in that direction? It's heading in that direction more than it used to be. I'm not going to say it is, it's not, but certain people seem to be pushing that. Is fear of government healthy? A certain level of it. I fear the government, but I'm also going to respect cops if they pull me over. Doesn't Venezuela have a planned economy? No. No. The Venezuelan government owns certain aspects of the economy, like oil, but that's not unheard of either, and works in several countries. Thank you, Zach. Oh, you popped away there. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. Which president was my favorite? FDR. Do I suffer from anxiety? Yes. How about a video on it? I made one about self-sabotage. That was quite, it hit quite near to home there. If you want to know thoughts on Woodrow Wilson, I'd recommend Cynical Historian. He talks about him all the time. I don't know if I necessarily have enough about him, like enough knowledge. Best Civ 6 civilization, probably the Aztecs and maybe the Kree. Why am I against streaming? I'm not against streaming. If you want to stream, that's fine, but it's not necessarily what I want to do with my channel. I'm doing this, and I've said many times why I'm doing this, so I won't reiterate it now. But I don't, I'm an education channel, and I understand that I'm entertaining, and that's probably like the biggest aspect of what I do. But I want to entertain through education rather than entertain through gaming or whatever else I do. Like, I don't want to make this an entirely regular thing. But doing it more often would be fine. Like, I'm not against like streaming more often. What are my credentials? I have 2 bachelor's degrees. I don't know. Add me on PlayStation. Gross. I skipped your super chat. Did I? Okay, I'm going to be watching for the next like 30 seconds, Ben Sama. Let me know what your question was and I'll read it again. Don't pay for it, just ask me your question. And once I see his question, that's the last question. What do you think about the differences between fashions? No, neither of them are preferable. They're both awful systems. Am I going to do a video on the Cold War? Not on the whole, again, no. How do I feel about AP classes? They're fine. When I was in high school, AP wasn't really a thing. I had a few AP classes. I took calculus, but it seems to be much more prevalent now. I'm definitely an introvert. Okay. What is the next moderate guide? I don't know, to be honest. It might be universal basic income. I've had several chats with people recently about it, and it's been requested several times. So I might do uh, universal basic income wrapped up with welfare and stuff like that. So that might be the next moderates guide. In fact, um, star that one. so so thank you for staying up excessively late for me to test out my new microphone. I hope it works well. I hope the sound is better. I hope it's not as echoey and all of that. Um, and I do plan on making more secret live streams like this. I can't. They're not going to be 1 or 2 in the morning or whatever. Uh, they might be throughout the day and stuff. But yeah, and no, this isn't going to be up for later viewing. It's just for you guys who happen to be awake right now. And if you happen to catch them in the future and whatever. But no, you won't be able to watch this later. I'm sorry. Because it wasn't planned and all of that. So I don't want people to feel bad for missing a secret live stream that was just for you. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good night.